Hello everyone and welcome to Photoshop 101. Okay, so you've just gotten Photoshop CS3 and you open it up and you think, oh my god, what am I going to do next? Trust me, it's not as bad as it looks. Once you know how to do things, seem so much easier. Okay, let's start. First things first, you want to open something, so let's go into new. This dialog box will come up. You can put in your name here if you want, we're saying new. Preset clipboard, you can have all your presets here. Default Photoshop size, it's about, it comes up in centimeters, but you could change that. You can change that to whatever you want. I prefer pixels, so let's say 750 by 500 pixels. That's okay. That. No, I have it set to white background. You can change that any way you want. You can actually get rid of that. You can fill it with color, whatever you want to do. So okay, let's close that now. You can go up here. You can window it, you can minimize it down to the bottom of Photoshop, or you can close it all together. So let's open a new image. Go to open. There's some AI games resources that I've been using. Let's go into AI control. There's a photo of an owl. Just give that a minute. Here we go. Now over here you can see your color swatches. You can pick them, and as you can see, it's after popping up over here. Any color you want. You can see the eyedropper tool pops up when you do that. That's your foreground color. That's what will be used if you selected a brush or something. It'll come up in that color. If you switch to background, this will come up, and you can select your colors from here as well. Let's say red, or how about blue? Let's say blue. You can change it to blue or anything you want. That's okay. That also, if you want to go back to black and white, just click this button or press D. Now let's start with your tools. This over here is your toolbar. It has everything you're ever going to want to need for just screwing around with your photos. So let's start the stop. This is your move tool. You can use that for pretty much anything. Selecting, pointing. It's used down here in the layers. You can move this around if you wanted to. I can't do it now because the layer's locked. So I'm just going to have a new layer. Paste it in. I just already had it in. The background layer is always locked. You can't unlock it. There's nothing you can do about that. That's why it's usually transparent or white. So I'm going to delete that now, so I can mess around with it. So I can mess around with this image now. If I use my move tool, there we go. And as you can see, the background is transparent. So I'll just undo that. Next up, you have your rectangular marquee tool, and on top of that, you have the whatever marquee tool, single row with single column. Now, if you just click that, it will come up as a single column marquee tool. But if you click and hold it down, you see all the other options. You can tell if there's more than one option if there's a little arrow beside it. Okay, moving on. Here you have the lasso tool. I'll cover that in a later tutorial. It can be used for all sorts of things. Your magic wand tool, I'll cover that later tutorial. It can be used for all sorts of things. Now here we have our crop tool. So say you just wanted the owl's face. So let's select that. Just click and drag. There it is. Press enter. There's the owl's face. Now I'm just going to undo that. Back to the original image. I'll get my pointer again. Here we have the slice tool. I'm going to go over that in the later tutorial. Spot healing tool, and the red eye is there as well. I'm going to go over that later. Now here we have the brush tool. Brush tool is your bread and butter Photoshop. Up here we have our brush presets. You have 1 pixel. You can't really see it because the image is so big, so let's bump that up to about 100. There you go. You can do whatever you want with that. Let's there we go, facing the image. Let's just undo that. It's exactly what you'd expect from a brush tool. Click and drag, it paints. Now what you also have is you can change the diameter of the brush. So let's say you wanted it bigger, you can put in any number you want. Let's say 2000. There's a 2000 pixel brush tool. That goes up as really high. I'm not sure how high it goes. Let's put up to 3000. Is that it? Nope. 2500 is the highest it goes. Okay. So on top of that, and let me just get rid of that because it's slowing down my computer quite a bit. And let's put that back down to about 65 and undo that. So okay, so you have your brush tool, and what you can do, this here is your hardness. The higher it is, the sharper the image is. See, that's very sharp. You can't really, it's very dead. Like here, I'll put it down to 0, and you can see it's much softer. The edges are more blurred. So let me just get rid of that. Now, you can, sorry about that. You can select your own preset brush tools. I have quite a few custom brushes in here. Let's say this is some paint. There's a paint splash. I'll zoom in a bit so you can see it. As you can see, it's very highly detailed, and you can change that to whatever size you need. You could have done that with one of the regular brushes, but it would have taken forever. So if I'm looking for something like a paint splash or anything, I'll probably get a custom brush. Now, after the brush tool, you have the clone stamp. I'll go over that later. Next up, you have the history brush tool. I'll go over that later. Now, eraser is exactly what it says in the tin. You can use the brush presets for the eraser as well. You can even use the custom brushes if you want to. Let me just bump that up a bit, and it erases your image. As you can see, the background is after popping up there. I'm going to do that. Next up, you have the gradient and the paint bucket tool. So if I just go into gradient, it might not be what you expect. As you can see, it's in black and white. I'm going to click and drag now, just to show you what it can do. Anytime now. This is just frap slowing down my computer. Just wait for that to finish. There we go. Or not. That doesn't seem to have done anything. Oh no, wait, here we go. It's just my computer being extremely slow. As you can see, it's painted in a gradient on top of that image. Usually you'd go on to new layer for that, but I'm just showing you how it's done, so let's undo that. This might take another half an hour. Now it's ready. So while it's doing that, I'm going to move on to the next tool. Here you have the smudge tool and all its little wizards. Blur tool, sharpen. Blur is what you'd expect. You can, let me just make that a bit bigger. Say you wanted to blur out the owl's eye, click and drag, move it around, and that'll blur it. And of course you can do the opposite with the sharpen tool, but it's the same functionality, click and drag. Next up you have color dodge and all its other little wizards. That's I'll get into that later. Now you have next up you have the pen tool. I'll do that later in another tutorial, but there's quite a few uses that many people tend to overlook. I'm just going to hide this layer. If you click the eye in the layers panel, it'll hide that layer. So if you, it'll say put a point there and a point there. The pen tool is used for doing curves. As you can see, I've just clicked my second point and then dragged the mouse around to create that that nice curve there. If I click here and hold it down, see another one has come up from the last point that I've done. Just give it a bit of definition, and I'll go here as well just to finish it off. There we go. I'm just going to do that. That's the basics of what you could do with the pen tool. Now I'll just unhide the layer. There it is back again, or show the layer. You have a text tool, which is pretty much exactly what it says in the tin. Click, here I'll do it. What you can do is click, drag, open the text box, and once the text box loads, it takes a couple of seconds on this computer because it's pretty slow. But once it does come up, it'll come up in a new layer down here. There we go, and you can type in whatever you want. Let's say owl, and you can, if you select that, you can change the font size, definition, the font itself over here, color, whether you want it centered, left or right, whatever you want. Now, because this is in the text tool, you won't be able to do anything else in Photoshop until you want to click out of it. If I try to click that, it'll go out of it, but I must be thinking of something else. If you want to edit that, click the text. There you go. You can also resize this text box as much as you want. There we go. I'm just going to, if there's nothing there, just press escape and you'll pop out of the text box. It's back now because I didn't save it. I'm just going to delete this layer. You can right click and press delete. There it goes. Delete, yes. Next you have your path selection tool that works with the pen tool. I'll get back to that. Then you have your shapes. You have rectangles, ellipses, polygons, lines, whatever you want, even the custom shapes, so you can do whatever the hell you want there. Now you have notes and annotations. I'm just going to show you a quick annotation. I haven't set up for this microphone, so I'll just hope it works. Here we go. I'm recording a tutorial for Photoshop right now. Now I'll just let that save, and then it goes. I'll just try and play that with my pointer. I'm recording a tutorial for Photoshop right now. Yep, there it is. Now I'm going to just delete this because it's taking up space. Yes, you could put notes there if you want. Say I don't know, I blurred this ear a bit, and then I wanted to say what I've done there. I just click in to an audio annotation, stick it in, or you can use notes, which are pretty similar. Now you have an eyedropper here. Let's just select that. Now what you can do, you click anywhere on this, and say I'll click this blue part up here, click that, and as you can see it's come up here in the foreground color too. I'm just going to put it back. You could do the same, say you clicked into background color, my color mixer will come up. Now you can move around here as usual, but you also have an eyedropper out here. I will in a second. There we go. I click this and it'll pop up in the color picker. I'm just going to cancel that. When it loads, cancel. No, it doesn't see. There we go. Next up you have your hand tool, which can be moved. Let's say you zoomed in on your photo a bit. Sorry. No. Okay, so here's your hand tool. You can click and drag it around. Now, because the image isn't filling the screen, it's not doing anything. I'm just going to zoom in a bit. Now, as you can see, click and drag, it all moves the images. Now, something else you may not know, if I click here, whatever tool I'm looking for, let's say the brush. I'm using the brush. If I press spacebar, press and hold spacebar, then the hand tool pops up and you can drag it around as you normally would. Let's just zoom back out. Now, as you can see, I'm using these two buttons here to zoom in and out. You also have a slider, so you can zoom in a stupid amount, like 1000%, or zoom out to 1%. Let's just get it back to normal size. But there will do. You can also use this magnifier down here, but it's not quite as precise as these tools over here, so I prefer these ones. Right, now, you may have noticed during that video that I had to undo quite a few things. What you do with that, let's say I screwed up and put in, oh god, so that's happened. Now usually you just press Ctrl Z. I'll do that now, Ctrl Z, and that's worked, but I'll press Ctrl Z again and it's back. What's going on? Ctrl Z, it's gone again, it's back, it's gone, it's back. Okay, so now what Photoshop is doing, it's undoing that and redoing that. They're both tied to Ctrl Z. So if you want to undo about 10 steps in a row, you hold Ctrl Alt Z, and then that undoes it. And if you want to redo forward 10 steps, assuming you haven't done anything, you can press Ctrl Shift Z. Oh crap, wrong button. Ctrl Shift Z, and there it is. It's back. I'll just get rid of that now. Okay. Now last thing. Over here you can see your layers. They're the most important things you could do. While my computer was glitching out, I put in a new layer called new. You can name the layers by double clicking them, and there we go. You can type them whenever you want. If you double click let me just get out of that. If you double click the smaller image, then the layer styles will pop up. You can screw around with them. There are shadows, color overlays, gradients, patterns, whatever you want, you can put them in. You have about 2 buttons down here. That's delete layer, new layer, layer layer group, I call it layer folder, layer mask, layer effects, that sort of thing. They're all very important. I'll get into them in a later video, but they are very important. You will be needing them quite a few times. Okay, thanks for watching. Please remember to subscribe, and we'll see you soon. I'll have another tutorial soon going over layers for Photoshop. Thank you. Bye bye.